Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody had a wonderful and relaxing spring break. And I hope everybody is ready to get back to doing some work. We are at this point just going to continue with the way that we've been doing things. I'm going to continue posting lessons on Google Classroom with voiceover, and all this stuff so that you guys can have a little bit better instruction than just reading the instruction sheet. At this point, I'm not sure. I might create a Google Meet like you might be doing in your other classes, but not make it mandatory. Just make it so that I'm available by face and by voice and for immediate response for an hour or so every day, so I can just have the meeting up and running. And if you want to check in and ask a question, then you are free to do so. If you don't, then no worries. Um, Continuing with where we left off, you have been following along and doing all the assignments. You will have created, the knock knock joke where your two sprites spoke back and forth to each other, and then you were supposed to recreate a movie scene, just one, right? So whatever characters are in your scene, um, we're just talking back and forth. So we're going to expand on that a little bit today. And this is what's called the broadcast assessment. When this was, obviously supposed to be in our normal everyday school, this was going to be an assessment. It's an assessment every year. And it does take a little bit of time. So you'll see here that I've got, 5 days set for that. So that's this entire week. This is going to be your one and only assignment for me for this entire week. Just reading through this, you're going to create a multi-scene story using Scratch. The story can be about anything you'd like as long as it's school appropriate. And the story must use broadcasting to change between scenes. I am going to show you what that looks like. It should start with a title scene that says the name of the story and who it is by. I will also show you what that looks like as well. Requirements. So you need to have a plan of what your story is going to be about. It should just be a Google Doc plan. I have an example of that down here. Another thing that we will also look through after I'm done reading this. A title scene. We talked about that in the brief instructions. That does not count as one of your actual scenes. So it should be a title scene and then 3 active scenes, like it says right here. Active scenes means something is happening in that scene. Sprites are moving, whatever it may be. You need to have at least 3 talking sprites throughout your entire story. If each scene only has 2 sprites in it, that's fine, as long as the 3rd sprite then shows up at some point later on in your story. All scenes have to have real dialogue, meaning that they're talking back and forth, not just, one sprite says one thing and then, we move on to the next scene. There needs to be some back and forth. Change of scene using broadcasting. Again, this is your big thing here. And I will show you what that looks like on my project. And then movement or sound that makes sense for the story. So let's click on this first, the planning example. It's pretty basic. So I obviously just wrote, stuff here to kind of get you thinking. All you really need to do is give me what the title of your story is. And then this broadcast, this is where you're going to change scenes. It's the way you're going to change, from one scene to the next. So we're going to broadcast message saying scene 1, and then scene 1 happens, right? And so just tell me what sprites are in it, what the backdrop is. So where is your scene set? And then just tell me what happens, just with a little bit more detail than this. Tell me exactly what happens in that scene. Same thing, right? So then you're going to broadcast message 2 or scene 2, and that's going to start scene 2. So, scene 2 only has 2 sprites in it, and now they're at a house and they're talking and doing stuff and whatnot. And then we have scene 3, same thing. Just tell me the sprites, the backdrop, and then what's going on. Okay, so this is my title screen. And this should help you with a couple different things, right? So this just gives you a basic understanding of what a title screen is, and it's just a screen that has my title on it. I just used a backdrop of a brick wall. I put all of these letters in here specifically so you can put that all in as sprites. And then for this, I just edited the backdrop. If you go to backdrops and you click on this, you can create a text box, and I can write something in here like um, title example, and that will show up, right? So you can write on the backdrop, or you can kind of create stuff with letters. So if you click this, you'll notice that it runs for a certain amount of time, um, just kind of setting your basis for the story, and then everything all of a sudden changes. And everything changes using this button right here, this broadcast message one. So you'll notice that it says when the green flag is clicked, it's going to wait 6 seconds, and then it's going to broadcast message one, and then everything else starts with the broadcasting of message one. So, my bear, when he receives the green flag, or when he gets the green flag, he goes to a certain location, but he's hidden. He does not show up until he receives message one. Same thing with the flying horse eagle thing, and then my friend the fish over here, right? So they don't do anything until they receive message one. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your title story. You're going to set it for as long as you want. And then when you're done with that scene, you broadcast a message. Then everything you want to have happen in the next scene starts when you receive message one. So then you're going to play out all the dialogue, all the movement, all of the information that you want to have happen in scene one. And when the very last thing in scene one happens, you're going to broadcast message, and you'll just change this to new message, broadcast message two, or whatever you want to name it. Once you broadcast message two, then everything you want to have happen in scene two, you will use when I receive message two. And that should kind of help you out. Um, every year that I do this, it gets really confusing. People get really confused with how the broadcast works. So if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. I am by my computer pretty much all day. So just let me know if you guys have any questions. Like I said, this is the only thing you're going to get from me for this week. I will let you know in the Google Classroom whether or not I decide to do, like a Google Meet that's available for you guys to pop in. I probably will. So I will post that in the Google Classroom for you guys to have access to. Hope this works out for everybody. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and we will take it from there. Have a good day, guys.